Don't want. So listen, Jamie was like, okay, Kandi, you have not really been doing your content like you're supposed to. And I was like, well, what the hell do I want to talk about today? And Don Juan and I always talking about stuff, but some of the
But don't move yet. So picture this. Jamie leans in and goes, all right, Kandi, you've been slacking on your content and you know it. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, then what the hell am I supposed to rant about today? Dawn and I be deep diving into chaos all the time, but half the madness we discuss? Yeah, we keep that locked in the vault. Y'all, she didn't just whisper secrets. She detonated the end times. And I'm not talking about petty shade thrown for cheap hype. I'm talking revelations that burn through reputations, crush carefully crafted images, and whip the whole internet into a full-blown digital inferno. Because tonight, Dr. Heavenly didn't hit go live to chat. She hit it to ignite. The moment her face appeared cold, steady, unmoved, you could feel the world tilt. A thick, dangerous quiet flooded in, the kind that rolls over right before a storm rips a family in half. And then she dropped it. The line that yanked the breath out of millions mid-scroll. Let's talk about who Kandi really is and why that marriage was doomed long before the vows. Comments exploded. Heartbeats kicked up. People leaned closer like something invisible had grabbed them by the spine. Because what Heavenly unleashed next, this wasn't drama. This was annihilation. She alleged, in her words, that Kandi never loved Todd. Not once. Not ever. She bound herself to a man she believed she could control. A man whose wallet she eclipsed without effort. A man she could reshape, quiet, and tuck into the background of the immaculate storybook life she broadcast to the world. And that was only her first strike. Heavenly declared that the real Kandi wasn't soft, polished, or the version her online defenders worship. She was colder, sharper, and far more lethal. A woman intoxicated by influence. A woman who didn't crave control. She needed it like blood in her veins. Someone who allegedly played with people's hearts, alliances, stability, even their futures like expendable pieces on a board built solely for her to rule. And as her claims kept rolling in, each heavier than the last, the live stream shifted from commentary into a public dismantling. Tonight wasn't tea. Tonight was implosion, betrayal, collapse, and the burial of a legacy the world once believed couldn't be touched. So brace yourself, because what comes next isn't drama, it's destruction. A slow, methodical unspooling that doesn't just expose someone, it peels apart their entire legend layer by horrifying layer until nothing recognizable remains. Tonight, Dr. Heavenly didn't tease, didn't soften, didn't dance around the truth. She tore the mask off an entire kingdom and dumped every hidden shard straight into the audience's hands. And the way she did it, precise, glacial, unflinching, felt like someone who'd stored these flames for years and finally chose to let them roar, no matter who ended up scorched. The moment she went live, viewers flooded in. No smile, no warm-up, no emotion, just a stare that whispered, blood will be drawn. She leaned in, the room behind her locked in silence, and with a voice that sounded more like sworn testimony than gossip, she began. Let's stop pretending, she said. Kandi didn't choose marriage for love, she chose it for power. That one sentence cracked the internet in half. The comments detonated so fast the stream shook under the pressure. People gasped, clutched their mouths, froze mid-scroll. Because for years, fans praised this Kandi character as the unstoppable formula, unstoppable hustle, unstoppable persona, unstoppable narrative, unstoppable image, unstoppable marriage. But in Heavenly's telling, that flawless image wasn't real at all. It was a polished shell hiding something far darker than anyone dared imagine. She went on, Todd wasn't a partner. He was a prop. Someone smaller, someone financially outmatched, someone who could never challenge the kingdom she engineered. Every sentence cut deeper than the last. Heavenly never shouted, she didn't need to. Her quiet was the weapon. She explained how this fictional Kandi allegedly chose Todd not for balance, but because he couldn't stand against her. How she required someone pliable, quiet, someone she could mold, direct, and place precisely where she wanted him to exist. That union, she whispered, was a transaction disguised as devotion. The audience froze. No hesitation, no tremble, no nervous filler, just a relentless, clinical breakdown of a relationship viewers once believed was unshakable. Heavenly portrayed a woman moved not by tenderness, but by strategy. A woman who allegedly viewed intimacy as a liability. A woman who chased power long before she ever chased companionship. The more she spoke, the less it resembled a live stream and the more it resembled testimony being submitted into evidence. She pushed further, stripping away every crafted moment, every media-friendly smile, every camera-ready family scene, exposing a truth people sensed but never dared to say aloud. Kandi, she alleged, worshipped the idea of marriage far more than the man standing inside it. Then came the ominous pattern no one wished to confront, how this fictional Kandi always kept herself slightly above the men around her, financially, emotionally, publicly. How everything in her orbit had to revolve around her center of gravity. And the moment someone crept too close and disrupted her control, she pushed them out with a cold, survivor-made precision. But that was only the first cut. Maintaining that same measured tone, Heavenly added, Kandi didn't just want a marriage. She wanted dominion over it. The chat exploded. Wild, frantic messages poured in, denial, outrage, reluctant agreement. From those who had always sensed something rigid, something rehearsed, something hollow beneath the glitter. Heavenly described how that alleged hunger for control seeped into everything. Staff felt it. Producers adapted to it. Castmates whispered about it behind locked doors. According to her, this fictional Kandi carried a consuming need for authority that swallowed every relationship she touched. She painted the image of a woman who allegedly demanded loyalty, obedience, and silence while refusing to offer genuine emotional presence to anyone in her sphere. Heavenly's voice tightened, each word chosen with surgical precision. There was no warmth in that home, she implied, only pressure. The chat erupted again. Viewers typed. Faster than the stream could keep up, shock slowly morphing into creeping dread. The more Heavenly spoke, the more the glossy illusion, the dream marriage, the curated household, the rising empire, dissolved into thin, smoky air. And then Heavenly dropped the revelation that blew open every comment section. Kandi supposedly admitted she enjoyed threesomes. What she never clarified was the reason. It wasn't desire. It was domination. Heavenly paused. She wasn't seeking intimacy. She was seeking control over the entire atmosphere. The energy in the live stream shifted instantly. This wasn't tea anymore. This was psychological excavation. Heavenly described how this fictional Kandi allegedly maintained emotional distance by stirring chaos, tossing flirtations toward castmates, stepping across lines that blurred vows, drifting into territories no married woman should touch. She even resurfaced the moment Portia claimed Kandi once approached her with an offer so wild it left her frozen. And suddenly, everything viewers once dismissed as Bravo-style foolishness, the jokes, the glances, the drama, snapped together like early warning signs of something far more menacing. The audience felt the shift. This wasn't TV turbulence. This was a system fracturing. Heavenly drew a breath, then drifted into even darker terrain. The family. Mama Joyce, she said, was poison from the first breath of it all. Anyone who had watched Mama Joyce for over a decade knew instantly that the fallout was about to get vicious. She never respected Todd, never welcomed him, never trusted his intentions. She branded him a climber before the prenup ink even dried. And Heavenly kept going. She said that prenup wasn't love's safeguard, it was humiliation wrapped as practicality. How Mama Joyce weaponized it. How Kandi co-signed it. How Todd allegedly agreed not out of devotion, but because backing out meant losing everything. It wasn't proof of romance. Heavenly claimed it was proof he was cornered. The comments exploded again. Some defending Todd, some too stunned to speak, others furious they hadn't seen the manipulation laced through the storyline from day one. Heavenly portrayed Mama Joyce as a permanent shadow haunting the home. Someone who didn't view Todd as family, but as an intruder. Someone who dripped suspicion, bitterness, and venom into the air. Someone who allegedly filled Riley's mind with ideas that turned the household into a spiritual battleground. Every detail hit harder than the last, like peeling open sealed walls of a house decaying behind its paint. Heavenly wasn't trading gossip. She insisted nothing about that marriage was real. Not the affection, not the unity, not the picture-perfect family pose. It was scaffolding built on dominance, strategy, and survival, never on love. The live stream no longer felt like entertainment. It felt like watching an empire crumble in real time. And the moment those words left her mouth, the entire energy twisted into something almost sinister. Viewers weren't just watching anymore, they were witnessing a calculated implosion, the slow collapse of an image they'd been fed for more than a decade. The chat spiraled in disbelief. But Heavenly only grew calmer, more rooted, like someone who had carried a truth so heavy that releasing it finally let her exhale. She didn't blink. There's a part of the story, she murmured, that people avoid because it shows how broken everything behind those doors truly was. Something in her voice dragged thousands closer to their screens. She explained that the fractures inside that home didn't begin with fame or a ring. They began long before, resentment buried under achievement, pressure smothered under glitz, silence masquerading as peace. She described a home where every room held a different battle, cold distance here, whispered arguments there, emotional gaps so wide nothing could bridge them. It didn't sound like a marriage anymore. It sounded like a structure, slowly collapsing under the weight of its own lies. Then Heavenly shifted into even darker territory. She explained how this fictional Todd allegedly started disappearing inward, not from anger, but exhaustion. He was surrounded by people who didn't want him, didn't value him, didn't consider him equal. He tried to fit in, tried to contribute, tried to be a father, a partner, a man worth seeing. But every step he took was met with frost, judgment, dismissal, or worse, indifference. He didn't just lose confidence. Heavenly said he lost the core of who he was. The chat detonated again, heartbreak emojis, fire emojis, messages flashing so fast they became a blur. But Heavenly didn't give them a moment to breathe. She leaned in slightly. While the world pointed fingers at Todd as if he were the problem, no one saw the reality he was trapped in. A home where choices were made around him, where connections were filtered before reaching him, where every boundary he tried to set was shattered before it could protect him. This wasn't partnership. This was survival. Then, without warning, Heavenly dropped something far more unsettling. She claimed Todd began seeking emotional refuge outside the house, not romantically at first, but through conversations with someone who treated him like a human being rather than a placeholder. That someone, she alleged, was Portia. The chat erupted, but Heavenly didn't raise her voice. She didn't dramatize. She spoke with the calm precision of someone under oath. It started as simple talks, she said. Two people sharing the weight, two people overlooked, two people who understood each other when no one else could. The audience spiraled, some furious, some stunned, some whispering, "I always suspected." Then she delivered the sentence that froze the entire live stream. Emotional comfort becomes emotional attachment, and emotional attachment is one breath away from something deeper. She let the silence hang like a cold hand on every viewer's spine. People don't fall in love with another, she said. They fall out of the cages they've been trapped in. Her words weren't sensational, weren't theatrical, they were devastatingly real. And in that same unwavering voice, she revealed the secret that had circulated backstage whispers for years. Todd didn't just confide in Portia. Allegedly, he cared for her, and she for him. The chat exploded, messages flying faster than the feed could register, but Heavenly remained emotionless. She explained how their emotional bond allegedly grew quietly in moments off camera, away from castmates, when both were suffocating under their own collapsing worlds. Two people drifting toward each other simply because the places they came from were already breaking. And then she dropped the nuclear bomb, the line that made thousands clutch their chests, rewind, and scream. There are whispers, she said softly, that something happened during those fragile months, something with consequences no one expected. She paused long enough to make the tension burn. Then she added, there may be a child involved. The live stream didn't shake, it detonated. Comments poured in. No way. You're lying. What are you saying? Whose child? But Heavenly didn't flinch. She made it clear she wasn't naming anyone or assigning blame, only relaying what insiders had murmured for years. Todd's life outside the marriage, she said, wasn't the polished story fans thought. When someone fights a prenup, she said, they're not fighting for love. They're fighting for escape. The sentence landed like a bullet. Then Heavenly broke down how Todd's challenge to the prenup allegedly revealed his mindset. Not loyalty, not unity, but fear, a man desperate for financial armor because he already knew the marriage's emotional foundation was ash. She described the home as it became increasingly toxic. Kandi gripping tighter, Todd retreating further, Mama Joyce firing verbal daggers, Riley drawing hard lines, Kayla fading into silence, Don Juan watching everything from the shadows. Meanwhile, the public applauded the curated couple goals facade, oblivious to the war raging inside. Heavenly recounted late-night arguments stretching into sunrise. Silent dinners that felt like funerals. Family gatherings where smiles were pasted on like masks. A home where love didn't grow, only tension. According to her, Todd and Kandi weren't truly living together. Then she revealed how the final explosion came. Arguments became accusations. Accusations became threats. Threats morphed into irreversible decisions. Somewhere in that battlefield, someone finally stopped pretending. The divorce, she said, wasn't a shock to anyone inside, only to the fans, because the people living there had been emotionally divorced long before the papers were filed. And as Heavenly described the final stretch before the news broke, her tone dipped into something almost ghostly. Nights when they didn't speak. Nights Todd slept in another room. Nights Kandi stayed out longer than necessary. Nights when that house stopped feeling like a home at all. She ended with a verdict-like line. This wasn't a breakup. This was a collapse. Everything viewers thought they knew shattered. And in those final moments before the story hit every headline, the truth didn't whisper, it screamed. The kind of revelation that doesn't just startle viewers, it rattles them to the core. Heavenly leaned into the camera, shadows stretching behind her, making every word feel like a weight dropping on the audience. She didn't need theatrics. Her calm intensity alone froze thousands mid-scroll, hearts hammering, eyes wide, disbelief creeping in. She started at the foundation of the collapse, the house, the marriage, the illusion. This wasn't a disagreement, she said. This wasn't a handful of arguments you could brush off. This was the deliberate erosion of every emotional bond in that home. Every connection had been undermined, twisted, or destroyed on purpose. The world didn't notice because the smiles were perfect, the photos pristine, the social media polished to hide the cracks. Her voice cut through like testimony, revealing a control so precise it was suffocating. Kandi's influence wasn't subtle. It was strategic, obsessive. Every reaction, every heartbeat around her was measured, monitored. Todd, Riley, even cast members, all pawns in a game no one realized was being played. The live stream exploded, disbelief and fascination colliding in the chat. Viewers couldn't look away. Comments poured in a flood of outrage, shock, heartbreak. Heavenly went deeper, showing Todd's isolation. He was trapped, she whispered. Trapped in a home where love was performative, loyalty demanded but never returned. Every attempt at connection was met with cold dismissal. He didn't just lose love, he lost himself. And then came the alleged betrayal that silenced the chat. While everyone fixated on the illusion of perfection, Todd allegedly sought someone who truly saw him, listened to him, cared for him. That someone, she claimed, was Portia. Their connection wasn't casual. It was a lifeline. The chat erupted. Thousands typed at once. OMG. What? Some screamed, some leaned closer, some froze, unable to process it. Heavenly didn't flinch. Comfort, she said slowly, letting it land, leads to attachment. Attachment leads to consequences. And in this case, those consequences may have left a mark no one expected, a child. There are whispers. People who know, but fear keeps them silent. The chat went berserk. The internet felt fractured under the weight of the revelation. She paused, letting the gravity settle, before pivoting to the family dynamic. Mama Joyce, she said, voice heavy, wasn't a bystander. She allegedly fanned the flames, guiding Riley to distrust Todd, planting seeds of resentment that made reconciliation impossible. Her influence was toxic, pervasive, intentional. Every move in the house had purpose. Every glance, every word served control, not love. Riley wasn't just a witness, she became a participant, absorbing the toxicity and perpetuating it. She was taught to see Todd as a threat, an outsider, and that conditioning shaped every interaction. Viewers gasped. Screens went quiet as thousands tried to process the scale. This wasn't just reality TV. It was the unmasking of a household that seemed perfect, but was allegedly built on manipulation, distance, and hidden schemes. Then came the bombshell. Don Juan, Heavenly said, eyes narrowing, wasn't just a manager. Allegedly, he became entangled in ways that complicated everything. Lines were crossed, trust broken, the household's sanctity invaded. Whispers circulated that a child, long thought to belong to Todd, may not be his. And these weren't idle rumors, they came from insiders who saw it unfold. The chat exploded. Screams filled the screens. Some refused to believe it. Some cried. Some admitted they had sensed the cracks, but never imagined it went this deep. She didn't allow the chat to breathe. Instead, she pushed deeper. Every clash, every icy exchange, every subtle maneuver was crafted to keep the power in her hands. Kandi allegedly craved absolute control, not just over her husband, but over every single perception orbiting around her. She engineered interactions, orchestrated emotions, manipulated relationships, all to ensure no one could touch her throne. Heavenly's voice softened, but the tension sharpened. Every time Todd tried to stand up for himself, the ground was pulled out from under him. Every attempt to communicate, to heal, to reach for love was met with calculated frost. Even his attempts to protect his own stability, financial or emotional, hit a wall. And that prenup? It wasn't a document. It was a monument to imbalance, a public signal that love was never the anchor holding them together. The audience lost it. The chat spiraled into hysterical disbelief. This is wild. I can't breathe. OMG, Heavenly, please. But Heavenly continued unbothered. While the world believed they were watching a normal family, normal arguments, normal life, she said the truth was unraveling right in front of them. What looked like a smile on camera was possibly the quiet surface of a private hurricane. The chat couldn't keep up. Thousands typed at once, arguing, demanding answers, gasping in real time. The live stream was chaos made visible. And then Heavenly peeled back the last layers, the alleged emotional warfare, the strategic cruelty, the impossible position Todd was trapped in between loyalty, duty, and devastating betrayal. This isn't about a divorce, she said, voice steady as a heartbeat in a silent room. This is about lives cracking open, secrets being dragged into daylight, and the destruction of an image engineered for decades. She described a household that never healed, never learned, never grew. Everything was performance. Everything was curated. Every rumor, every leaked argument, every perfect photograph, part of the illusion. And now, the illusion had collapsed. Her final statement hit like a verdict. This story isn't finished, she warned. But what's already been exposed is enough to prove that the perfection everyone worshipped, it never existed. Control. manipulation, secrets, psychological games. This wasn't a marriage. It was a maze designed to keep one person on top. And only now were people seeing the exits. The live stream ended without applause, without jokes, without the usual chaos. Just silence. The kind of thick, awful silence that freezes timelines and leaves phones hanging in people's hands as they stare at the screen, stunned. And instantly, the world split open. Social media exploded. Comments poured from every corner of the globe. News outlets scrambled to verify, to summarize, to chase leads. Fans screamed into the void. Analysts dissected every phrase. Conspiracies formed mid-sentence. People who once idolized the couple now questioned every smile, every interview, every photo, every holiday moment, every happy family narrative. The castle had crumbled. And as platforms tried to catch their breath, one truth hovered like smoke. Nothing in that marriage was ever what it looked like. The facade was dust. The illusion was gone. What remained was raw, chaotic, emotionally violent, and viral beyond comprehension. Every viewer felt it in their chest. The scandal, the heartbreak, the deception. It was unlike anything the internet had ever seen. With every repost, every stitched video, every frantic comment, the story burned hotter. Heavenly hadn't just exposed a breakup. She had exposed an entire ecosystem of control, manipulation, and emotional destruction hiding in plain sight. By the time she logged off, the damage was irreversible. The legacy painstakingly crafted for years, the glossy brand, the public trust, the curated family image, it all lay shattered, allegedly dismantled piece by piece in front of millions. And as people closed their apps, one question pounded through every mind like a drum in a dark room. How much of what we saw was ever real, and how much was a perfectly engineered lie? This was the kind of story that would echo across the internet for months, years even, haunting every memory of that seemingly perfect life. And as the dust settled over everything unveiled tonight, the truth hung heavy, impossible to ignore. The illusion of perfection was gone. The smiles, the celebrations, the carefully polished social media posts, all shattered, leaving only raw, exposed reality. What the world believed was love. It was control. What seemed like unity. It was manipulation. And the family? A labyrinth of secrets, betrayals, and unspoken pain. Every viewer felt the weight of the revelation. A household, a marriage, an empire built on power, not affection. Every glance, every whisper, every move had been calculated, orchestrated, precise. And now, finally, the cracks that had been hidden for years were visible to everyone. It was tragedy, yes, but also revelation, a full-scale dismantling of an image that millions had trusted without question. And the fallout was immediate. Chaos, shock, heartbreak, conversations exploding across timelines, theories spreading faster than anyone could track, questions burning in every mind. Who truly loved? Who was betrayed? And what secrets were still buried, waiting to surface? This story doesn't end here. The revelations are just the opening act. You've seen the deception, the emotional manipulation, the heartbreak. You've watched the pieces of a life pulled apart by power and control. Now it's time to see what comes next. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and follow as we dive deeper into the scandals, the hidden truths, and the explosive secrets the world wasn't ready for. This is far from over. Every confession, every hidden interaction, every dark corner will be exposed here first. Brace yourself. Watch closely, because the next chapter promises to shock, devastate, and reveal far more than anyone ever imagined.